You only really need 24 hours to ace your next exam. If you're like me and you like to leave shit to the last minute and you're short on time right now, dream speedrun music is playing, you only have 1 month, 1 week, maybe just 1 day for your next exam, this is exactly what I do to get the fastest A+ of your life. And at the end of the video, I'll give you the full battle plan that you can just copy for yourself. Numero uno, the cheat sheet. This is a super straightforward concept. Get a piece of paper that's smaller than A5 size, and what we're gonna do is summarize as much as possible onto this piece of paper. Look through your textbooks, your notes, everything that you've taken for the past semester or the past term. Everything goes here. And so imagine you were only allowed to bring one paper into the exam room, and this is that paper. What would you write on it to secure your success? You'll probably try to cram as much as possible. So that's why we limit the size, because if it was so big, you'll just try to fit a whole damn textbook onto this piece of paper. If I said summarize in 1000 words, 10% of it would be like fluff. But if I said summarize in 100 words, now you're gonna make every single word count. The less the word count, the more the words count. Oh, that's such a fucking bar, bro. I wrote that. Me. So now that you have this cheat sheet, we're gonna memorize this no matter what. And the important thing is, I have one for every single subject. And this works especially well for STEM subjects because you can write down like formulas, processes, diagrams. And for other things like languages, it still worked. So for example, before my O-levels, right, I'll write down on this paper the format for my essays. So for argumentative, it'll be like, okay, argumentative, paragraph 1 would be my argument, then point 1, point 2, I have some evidence as well, then I have a rebuttal, then after that I have my conclusion. But then if I wanted to write a narrative, then it will be like, okay, I will have to introduce myself, then I'll talk about the story, I will climb up, then I will hit the climax, I'll go back down, I'll give the lesson that I learned from the story, I will have prepared some hooks that I've already done before, and write it here so that when I start, I can use that hook that I already know does well. And so that's a simple example of what I would include on my cheat sheet for a language subject. And so you might have heard of the cheat sheet before, but here's the secret sauce that I use that I don't see many people talk about for some reason. Before the exam, revise this, and when you walk into the exam, you fold this and you put it under your watch so that when you're in there, you have it and then you cheat. No, I'm just kidding. When you have this before the exam, you memorize it, and then you go into the exam room without the cheat sheet. And then when you sit there and the teacher says you can start writing, I would flip the paper and immediately write down everything I had on my cheat sheet on the first page. I would write it in pencil so I can erase it later, but basically I won't have my cheat sheet there. And so I don't have to retain the information. It's like I can free up some brain gigabytes to actually do the problems instead. Your brain is for having ideas, not storing ideas. And so we want to just put it on the page first. So as I'm doing the paper, I can just refer back to the first page and see what I wrote. So for example, be smart about this, right? So for my math exam, I had some formulas that were already given on the formula sheet. So I wouldn't memorize those. I would just memorize the ones that weren't on the formula sheet. Number 2. Look at that focus, bro. Number 2, weakest subject. To cope with the stress and like self-soothe, what a lot of people will do is revise stuff that they already know. Or they just curl up in bed and cry themselves to sleep. But usually they'll revise what they know, right? And so when you revise what you know, it makes you feel safe because you're like, oh yeah, I already know this. So it makes it feel like you prepared, but your exam doesn't care about your feelings. Look at all your subjects, choose the weakest one. That's what we're going to prioritize. If not, if you only have like one exam coming up soon, then look at that subject, look at the weakest chapter within the subject, and that's what we're going to focus on. So about 20 to 40% of my time would be revising or recapping stuff that I already knew, and then the majority, like 60 to 80% of my time would be on the stuff that I didn't know. And so I would do that leading up to the exam. And then here comes the special sauce. Before the exam, on the day itself, I'll wake up earlier. So let's say the exam started at 9, right? I'll wake up at like 5 or 6, and I'll bust out one practice paper that I prepared the night before for that exam. So if it's an English exam, I'll do an English practice paper that morning so I can gauge how good I'll do, because it's pretty much going to be the same. If you can't do the full paper, then just do half, but basically do something before the exam so you have this warm up. So when you walk in, it's not your first time today having done this exam. And this is a pretty good gauge, because if you fail on the warm up, then you'll also probably fail on the actual paper, which leads me to the last point, which is a low mindset. It is what it is. This is the last thing that I'll say before I give you the full plan, but basically, stressing more will not help. In fact, it will probably just make you forget your cheat sheet. I could have studied more, and now you can't. And so losers complain about the things they didn't do. Winners think, what can I do next time? Or even better, with the time I have remaining, what can I do now? If you can't accept it, change it. If you can't change it, accept it. So right now, you can't change it. You can't go back in time. So just accept it. Take the L and just move on, you know? Put the fries in the bag, little bro. Honestly, for me, when it came near exam time, my goal wasn't really to end with an A. My goal was just to end with like nothing left in the tank. So here's an analogy to drive the point home. Imagine a primary school race, or middle school if you're American. Actually, no, I think Americans call middle schools the shooting range, yeah. So imagine a race, and all the little children are lined up and they're about to run. And then steps Usain Bolt onto the track. The kids shit themselves collectively, and then the gun fires. And then, it's not a shooting range by the way. The gun fires so that they can start running. 15 seconds later, it's over. And then Usain Bolt gets the victory, but he still has like 95% battery left in his tank. He didn't really put any effort, he feels nothing, and victory is empty. Now, imagine a little kid who can't run. He's fat as shit, but he tried his best. And he ends the race in last place, but with 0 left in the tank. Now let me ask you, not who won, but who grew? Well, definitely not the winner. So what I'm trying to say is that if you do your best and you're still left at last place, you still failed the exam, that was your best. That's all you could have done. Because there's no time right now, which is why I use the analogy of the dash or a sprint. Because right now, within now till the exam, that's your sprint. So you want to be like that fat kid where by the time it ends, you still have nothing left in the tank. Because guess what? That will make you grow. And then for the next exam, the next term, because there's always another paper, it's almost like you have to be okay with not doing very well here. Because when you don't do well here, that scares the shit out of you to actually do better the next time. And so you change up the way that you work. So here's the full plan. If you skipped here from the beginning of the video and you didn't watch the whole thing, you can go fuck yourself, go back and watch it, because if you don't, then there's no point. So here's how it works. Go through the textbook, find the most important stuff, put it on your cheat sheet. Number 2, revise the cheat sheet. You can use active recall. I have many videos on active recall. You can just look at that. And then number 3, of all the chapters, which one's the weakest? Most of the time should go to the weakest subject or the weakest chapter. The rest of the time should go to just recapping the stuff you already know so you don't forget. Number 4, on exam day, wake up a bit earlier, do one paper or like half a paper that you've already prepared the night before. You put it on your desk, you put it on your laptop. I would have like the PDF already on my laptop, so when I wake up, I'm like, okay, this is the paper, I'll start doing it. And once I finish it, or finish half, I'll go to school. And then number 5, it is what it is. Get it? It's a cheat sheet for the cheat sheet, because this video is about cheat sheets, so like the summary is also the cheat sheet, so that it looks, because like this, because like that. Yeah, that's the cheat sheet, by the way. You can just take a screenshot if you want. And I think something interesting is how hard you are willing to work when you have no other option and no time. And so it's not about how much time you have, it's about how much you maximize the time that you have. So right now, this is what you do to maximize it. Go do it. Take action. Speaking about exams and stress, I actually had a dream the other day. This is not relevant, by the way. This part is probably going to go to the end of the video after I do the take action, but I had this dream where, if you're Singaporean, you know this, when you take your O-levels, I think any exam, any GCS, even A-levels maybe, like you have to have this paper with you, like your credentials, you put it at the top of your desk so that they know like you are a genuine student who's taking the exam, right? And so in the dream I forgot, and so I had to run to get it, and I had 10 minutes left, and after I woke up from that dream, it was so stressful that I continued being stressed the rest of the day, even though I haven't been in that environment for like years. So yeah, but yeah, if you want more from me, you can go click the first link in the description. That's my free community. Or if you want more of my premium coaching to get you straight A's, that's the second link below. I'll just say this, some people have gotten 5 A+ after 3 weeks of joining and following the program. It's that good. So yeah, go maximize your time and maximize this kiss. Mwah.